Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so the past week has been pretty crazy with the Online Safety Act, and I've been, sat back yet again watching it all unfold and watching it cook a little bit in the oven. Now, this is something which is actually really important and something that I want to talk about because although I don't want to spam this channel with the same topic, it's something that I can see happening. And that, of course, is the Online Safety Act being implemented into other countries, but more particularly the US. So the last video actually did really well and got about 4,000 views, and in my case that's a lot, and the engagement on that video was amazing, so I just want to say thank you for that. So without further ado, let's talk about this. Okay, so to give you a quick rundown on what's happened in the UK have just passed the UK Online Safety Act, basically requiring everyone to give up their privacy and their data, requiring websites to actually verify your age to make sure that young people don't view certain content. And so I've just done a video on this, so if you do want to see that, you can go and check that out. But the topic of this video is, could the US adopt a similar law? And it doesn't seem out of reach. And although people are saying it won't happen in the US, it's not out of reach, especially with this brand new article that just came out. There's already been a current push for the same act, the same online safety bill, to be passed over in the US. It's not something that's not being said over there, it's heavily being pushed. And with this being implemented in the UK and other countries, it could possibly be happening to the US very soon. So why hasn't it been implemented in the US? Well, of course, there's everything to do with legal, the lawyers and stuff. They have to get through, number one, the First Amendment, which is basically free speech. It can be seen as censorship. Also under Section 230, which protects platforms from liability for user-generated content. It can also form under that as well. Now, although you have those first two laws, there's something which differs significantly from the EU to the US. No, it's not the food coloring that you put in your food and all the extra stuff. It's actually GDPR. If you don't know what GDPR, it's basically like regulations we have in the UK which make sure that certain things, basically the Online Safety Act goes under that, where there's certain things that you cannot do and certain things you can do with age and data. And over in the US, it very much lacks any sort of GDPR. It does have it, it doesn't it's not like they don't have it, but it's not to the extent you have in the EU. Hundreds of thousands of people signing petitions to get rid of this, and even on social platforms like X, people are fighting. Trump has actually come out and said, no, we are not going to be implementing it. But this is where the big catch is, because I don't think this is necessarily true. What did Trump actually say? Well, he said to Keir Starmer's face, as you do, right in front of him, implication of free speech and that US tech giants shouldn't be going along with this. However, that doesn't mean the US don't want data, because this new article shows otherwise. The Trump administration and big tech want to share your health data. Yep, you heard that right. They want your health data. Now, although this is voluntarily, it's been heavily pushed over in the US for people to give up their health data to the US. Now, I don't even need to let you know why this is bad, because of a person's data being accessed through their databases, and of course makes it attractive to cyber criminals. It now doesn't look far-fetched for them to do the same with the Online Safety Act. Although Trump has said, okay, that's not something that we would think to do, it's still being heavily pushed over in the US. And by the UK and other countries such as Australia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Ireland is going to do it as well. It's being heavily pushed in the EU. And that means over in the US, it's not really that far-fetched for them to be like, okay, the EU are doing it, why don't we push it a little bit further? And of course, Trump is not going to be president forever. His term is very limited. So whoever comes in next could implement this, or the person after that. It's not far-fetched when this is already being heavily pushed, and seeing the EU do it, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Just because someone says they don't want it doesn't mean it doesn't actually happen. So what could it actually look like if the US implemented the same thing? The lack of regulations and the only two barriers is the First Amendment and Section 230 actually workarounds around those 2 points. And so I can see it actually possibly being down the line being implemented. And like I said, it's already causing problems internationally because yes, it is impacting other countries. Ofcom, OSA, they control everything to do with this, has already sent letters to 3 websites outside the country, and more particularly the big US tech companies. There is a possibility of the companies asking the US to basically put more pressure on the UK, possibly even with tariffs. Could the US possibly implement the same thing? Well, with COSA already in place and already watching the rest of the EU take a similar path to the UK, I can see COSA pushing it even further and possibly getting to the same stage as where we are in the UK. It may not be now in Trump's current term, but it could be in the next president's. It could be 10 years down the line. It could be in the next 4 or 5 years down the line. Who knows? But it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Just because someone says something doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. So that's it for this video. Wanted to make it a quick one and talk about the possibilities that could happen for the US to implement this with all the other countries doing so. Like I said, it is a bit more of a serious topic, so that's why I've made less of the jokes and been a little bit more serious. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you did enjoy this video, please let me know, and hopefully see you in the next one. Goodbye.